It's me, Dio! Okay, it's not. But it's me, Lizzie, and welcome to my channel. I am talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure today. Yes, I have finally delved into that fandom. But you know what? I'm actually happy that I'm starting to get into it a little bit. As of this point, I have seen both part 1 and part 2, and I have not, I repeat, not dropped it yet. So, you've heard it here first. I haven't dropped it yet. I'm planning to watch part 3. So, I've made it, right? I've made it past the worst parts. I don't know. Up for debate, right? But yes, in this particular video, I'm mostly focusing on part 1, if you can't tell by the title, that there is a particular scene in this show that I find very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. And that scene may come to a surprise to some of you. I don't know. It depends. Guess you'll find out. But part 1 as a whole, I thought was an okay. It was an okay part. I keep wanting to call it season, but it's not really a season, I guess. I don't know. I'm new to this fandom, so anyone wants to throw me a line, you can throw me in the line. I'll allow it. But yeah, this part, I've heard is supposed to be not the best, and I can definitely see that, because even though it is condensed only into like 9 episodes, it gets pretty dry and boring kind of like in the middle, and I don't know, it's kind of towards the end, but then like it picks back up a little bit. It's like this, you know, ups and downs. I don't know. I think they were just like trying to figure stuff out in this part. Well, I shouldn't say that. They were trying to lay the groundwork for the parts coming up. And once you get past part 1 and get into part 2, you're like, yes, this is much better. And I understand why they were kind of laying this groundwork. So I say to you, if you're a person who maybe checked out part 1 and dropped it, I would highly recommend going back, giving it another try, and maybe just like, I don't know, pushing through it. You could even skip some of the crap because honestly, you don't really need most of it to understand what's going on in the following part. So, but once you get to part 2, I was happy within like the first couple episodes. I was like, wow, already a much more fantastic show. Freaking the new JoJo is just, I don't know. He's a lot more, in my opinion, lovable. I mean, I love the original JoJo too, in a way. Like, I was like, he's a very honorable man, but just Joseph Joestar is a good guy. And funny one too. Yeah, so I would just give that another shot. But focusing in back on part 1, there is a lot of frustrating things that happen in this part. And I think that kind of tells to why a lot of people end up dropping it. You know, there is like a whole hate relationship towards Dio. Okay, I want to talk about Dio, but I don't want to get like, this isn't a Dio video. But like, I've seen a lot of love for Dio online before watching JoJo's. And after watching JoJo part 1, I'm like, who in hell loves this guy? Like, he's a complete asshole. He is like the lowest of the low, okay? And one of the frustrating things that frustrates me a lot is the fact that he doesn't die. Oh, because he becomes an immortal vampire. But you know what? He doesn't die. I'm just like, I just want this guy to be out of there, okay? After the shit that he's done, he deserves the worst death possible. So I don't understand that. That's frustrating. But is that the most frustrating scene in the show, particularly for me? No, actually it's not. What about the fact that Speedwagon, you know, he gets introduced as like this baller dude that's like in the slums, and he's like, I can tell good from bad, and I have knives on my bowler hat, and I can cut you up with that shit. And then, like, proceeds to do nothing else for the rest of that part. And then he's in part 2 as well, and also does nothing else in that part. Except for, like, watch and commentate on the fighting and stuff like that. He even goes to say in part 1, he's like, wow, I didn't want to be an onlooker, blah, 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 something along those lines. I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but you're being an onlooker. Like, he literally doesn't hurt anybody. The only thing, like, after hurting JoJo's wrists a little bit that he does is is he smashes the mask at the end. Like, that's it, okay? He didn't even hurt any other living being, just the mask. Sure, all right, buddy. But is that the most frustrating thing? Or are any of his scenes the most frustrating thing in this show for me? No. Is it frustrating that JoJo's father continued to protect Dio, his adopted son, for, you know, the entirety of the show, and also just can't seem to tell how much of an evil asshole that he is, and that the fact that he's literally been poisoning him in front of his face this entire time, yeah, that's pretty irritating as well. But is that the most irritating thing in this show for me? No. Is it irritating that they introduced a bunch of new characters right at the end of the show, proceeded to kill at least 2 of them off, and then, like, expect us to have, like, some kind of feeling towards this? I don't know. But that was slightly frustrating, but also not the most frustrating thing in the show. The most frustrating scene of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 for me was a scene where Irina brings JoJo a basket of grapes as a gift. She runs off, but she's like, it's a thank you gift for him saving her from bullies. And JoJo then proceeds to feed one of these grapes to his beloved Great Dane, Danny. He feeds him a fucking grape. Now, if you're asking Lizzie, how could that scene possibly be the most frustrating thing for you in this show? That JoJo feeds his dog a fucking grape. Well, to you I say, you either don't have a dog or you don't know anything about dogs. And maybe if you do have a dog and you didn't know this, you should probably do some research, because dogs can't have grapes or raisins. Either they're actually poisonous to them and can cause some of their organs to fail, and, you know, even just minuscule amount. Doesn't matter what kind of dog you have. If they're big, if they're small, eat a little bit of grape, they could die. So, yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that Danny was going to get burned like 15 seconds later, he probably would have died of poisoning after eating that grape from JoJo. So I was like, wow, okay. Way to just try to kill your, you know, pet. I guess you didn't know that. And I was also like, who the hell did their research on this project about dogs? Clearly nobody. But, you know, they're just going to, you know, put this on some wide media of a kid feeding his dog a grape, and then people are going to be like, well, I want to share a basket of grapes with my dog. Don't do it. Don't feed your dog grapes. Please. Please don't do it. You don't want to now, okay? You don't want a vet bill like 10 miles high to save your poor pet, okay? Don't feed him grapes. Don't be like JoJo. I don't know. That was just the most frustrating scene for me in this show. When I saw it, he's just like popping him over a grape, and you're like, oh, but it's just one grape, and he's a giant dog. It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't know. You don't know how much grapes. It doesn't matter how big they are. Also, he had a whole freaking basket of them. He definitely could have just been flicking them for I don't know, a half an hour, and then, I don't know. So, honestly, maybe Dio was just putting Danny out of his misery because he was dying from grape poisoning. Wow, that's something I never thought about. I swear to God, if they reveal that later on in the show and I just didn't know about it, I'm gonna feel kind of stupid. And I'm also gonna be like, huh, maybe I have different feelings towards Dio. But right now, I still hate him. I still hate him a lot. I hate him the most. He's one of the most probably hated characters for me out of all of anime right now. But anyway, that was just my little rant here about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Part 1. Yeah, and just a little, you know, public announcement. Don't feed your dog grapes. Anyway, if you enjoyed this little rant, and you want to see more of my stuff, or, I don't know, anything, subscribe to my channel, like this video, I don't know, talk to me. I'm new to the JoJo fan base, so let me know what you think, what I should know, what do I need to know, what do I need to know to be a JoJo's fan? I don't know. Have a great rest of your night.